Shalom. We're in Haftarah Terumah. This is First Kings 5 and 6. The versification is off a little bit. In the Hebrew, it starts at verse 26, and in the English, verse 12. If anyone wants to mark on the screen or raise a hand, here's how you can do it. Looks like we have a couple of volunteers already. And Cheryl, would you like to read the first verse? Microphone? Yeah.
Okay. ואדוני נתן חוכמה לשלמה כאשר דיבר לו, ויהי שלום בין חירם ובין שלמה, ויכרתו ברית שניהם.
Excellent reading. Only one teeny tiny thing if I wanted to nitpick.
Good. Nitpick away.
Well, we're used to saying Shlomo.
לשלמה. לשלמה.
Well, no. It's the stress. It's very, very
L'Shlomo.
tiny.
Yeah,
Exactly. Right.
it seems like all the
Same thing
names
goes
are
with,
are
yes.
ultimate in the book for the most
Okay.
part. Okay.
Okay, so the Hebrew has the cancellation mark on the mem. So this should be, according to the Masoretic tradition, this should be pronounced Lishlomo. But I guess I'll paint with a broad brushstroke here. Ashkenazi tradition tends to move the stress of the syllables elsewhere, and then that has come to modern Israeli culture primarily in the form of names, but to a lesser extent liturgy and reading from the Bible as well. So there are tons of people in Israel named Shlomo and Moshe. Whereas in the Bible, it's Shlomo and Moshe, etc. And so anyway, that's just something to pay attention to if you want to.
Did I say Shlomo or
Yeah,
Shlomo
yeah,
when I read it?
yeah. You said Shlomo. All
Okay.
right, it's all right.
Okay.
I knew lots of great Shlomos while I was living in Israel. It was great, but all right. V'Adonai natan chochma lishlomo. Cheryl noticed the kamatz katan here, probably because it's an extremely common word, wisdom, but secondarily because there's a closed and unstressed syllable. So that must be a short O sound, chochma, which originally comes from an oo vowel, but Hebrew turned into an turned into an O vowel. Ka'asher diber lo. What vowel would we have expected to be here?
Seri.
Tere, exactly. Why is it a segol then?
It's in construct. Well, not construct, it's attached with a makef to lo for some
Good.
reason.
It's because of the hyphenation that this
Makef.
becomes well, it's a strong dagesh, so I'll put it like this. This becomes a closed and unstressed syllable. Short vowels go in closed, unstressed syllables, just like chokhmah is short because it's closed, unstressed. So also this is short because it's closed and unstressed. And so the same principles that we apply for kamatz katan actually apply to all the other vowels. You'll see a long chirik become a short chirik. You'll see a long tzere become a short segol. You'll see a long cholam become a short kamatz katan, or long kamatz turning into a short patach. So it's really fun to see those principles in action no matter where you turn.
When it's conjugated, Jared, sorry, is it a tsere, just like if hudi bear, if you're going to say that, it should be a tsere, right? Can you,
Correct. We expect it to be a tzere. That's
yeah.
right. U diber.
And it is okay, diber. So it's a stressed syllable.
It is.
But it is a closed, so it's closed. Okay, so it's
Correct. So
stressed.
it's closed, but it's stressed, and stressed as soon as the
Okay.
syllable is stressed, all bets are off. They can do what it wants. But if it's unstressed and closed, then it requires a short vowel. If it's open and unstressed, it requires a long vowel. That's the Rouse rule. If
Right.
anyone doesn't remember the rule of unstressed syllables. If it's an unstressed syllable, then short vowels go in closed syllables and long vowels go in open ones. And this holds true a good, I mean, it's got to be well over 95% of the time. Every once in a while you'll see an exception, but it is quite rare. And Vayhi Shalom Ben Hiram uven Shlomo. Does anybody know who Hiram is? I'm asking because I didn't look it up.
The
Um,
king of Lebanon.
where Solomon's going to get all the cedars from.
Right.
Okay,
In the
okay.
north.
Mm-hmm. Vayichretu, karat. What's the root karat?
Lichrot, to cut.
To cut. Yeah, it's almost like allotted, or well, I guess technically it's a brit. Okay, so he cut a covenant, shnehem, between the two of them, or for the two of them, maybe. All right, questions on that before we move on? All right. Eileen, would you like to read the next one?
Sure. Okay. Ba ya al ha melech Shlomo mas mikol Israel vayahi Hamas Shelomin
Shloshim.
Sheloshim Alf
Mhm. Elef
Ish
ish. Yeah,
Elef Ish
very good. Vaya'al, there's the stress. Hamelech Shlomo. Ya'al. Help me understand what's going on with this word. Does anyone want to parse it out, talk about the root, its meaning, its form?
Vayektol.
Mm-hmm. Good. Vav patach degesh. We know it's vayiktol because
It's a
of
weak verb, so
this. Mm-hmm.
the third letter is missing of the root.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a so it she said it's Victol, so it's a past narrative.
Okay. Right. Usually
And
vayiktols are narrative. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Ale extended race,
Good. Okay, so we see root number one and root number
to
two, but we
and
don't get
you
to see the third one. I would call this root Ein Lamed Yod or missing Yod. If you look it up in a dictionary, you'll have to look up Ein Lamed Hey, but Hey is a vowel. It's not a consonantal root letter. And the Yod that we do see tells us the person, gender, number. Vayiktol 3ms. Third
3ms.
person, masculine singular. He is the subject. And what about Benyan? What flavor of a verb is this?
Nifo.
I think it's Kal.
Kal? Okay, so Kal, plain old, simple action verb, nothing special about it, right?
Allah, Allah, Allah. Mm, yeah,
Okay, what does the verb Allah in Hebrew mean? He did
to
what?
go up,
Hmm,
to go up.
that is not
S-
a transitive verb.
No, this is oh, it's could it be he feel because of the patach under the
This word right here, mas, is an object, a direct object.
yeah
So we need a verb that's able to take a direct object. If this is an intransitive verb, it will not do. So that
the he
might rule
Allah.
out
Mm,
kal.
so he feel. I'll put
Good.
money on
So
it.
because of the patach being here, let me back up. It could be either one. It could be kal. It could be he feel.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't know how much I want to get into why it could be either one. Maybe we can get into that. But if it's he feel, that patach is going to be the reason that we think it's he feel. And the secondary, or in this case, primary reason is, well, there's an object. A direct object
Mhm.
can't go on the call. Um,
Mhm.
do we want to get into that? Into how one form
I
can
do,
actually
I
be
do,
two
but I
different
don't know if
binyamin?
other people do.
Anyone else interested or not?
Yeah.
Everybody is interested here.
All right.
Just
Well,
we have
hopefully this
open
isn't
mind.
going to be
We can-
this isn't going to be too much. Okay. So what do we have? We have the
The more the
form
merrier it here. The more.
ya'al, and the claim that I'm making is that this can be kal or he feel. All right, so let's look at a regular plain old kal and a regular plain old he feel. We'll use the root kuftet lamed because that's the standard root to use in grammar. Let's make a 3ms vayiktol using that root. It would look like
Bayakam.
this.
No? Yaktu.
Well, literally vayiktol. Right? And then if that's the kal version, and then the he feel version, it will be va yak.
Yak teal.
What will it be?
A yak teal. No?
Vector.
Tail. Same
Vector.
family.
Okay, vayaktel. You're right. It's the same family, but why is it a tzere instead of a chirik yod?
So it lengthens some.
It's because
Is
of
it
the
because
vayiktol.
it's Vayiktol?
Exactly. The vayiktol likes to
Like that.
apocopate and lose the extra yod. I say extra yod. It loses vowel letters in when it apocopates. So because of the vayiktol, we're not seeing the full picture. So maybe we should back up just a little bit and look at the full picture and then add vayiktol. In fact, that's the whole reason that they look the same anyway. Okay, so yiktol versus yak til. There we go. Now we're going to compare apples to apples. There we go. All right. What are we going to do with this? Well, how do we put in an Ein Lamed Yod into this root? What will it look like? Well, let's take our Ein Lamed Yod, right? Shove it in there and see what happens, right? Well, hang on a second. Is this an original vowel, that Hirik? Yik tol? No, I'm afraid not. In the, well, I don't want to say
Yak
it that
tulu.
way. You know what? I'm not going to say it that way. I could, but I won't. Let's back up. Let's just assume for a second that it's a Hirik. All right. And then we'll put a shva on the ayin.
Patach probably Schweier.
Very good. Ayin's going to be like, no, thank you. I want the gluten-free option, and take the chataf patach, the reduced patach instead, which will then vowel harmonize this to a patach. Now, between you, me, and the fence post, that chirik was never a chirik originally. It was a patach, and it turned into a chirik because of laziness. So that could also have an influence on this being an ah sound. But hey, the ayin is doing a good job of it, so why fix something that isn't already, well, can't say that. Why complicate it unnecessarily? Because it's Hebrew, that's why. And then the O vowel is supposed to go over here, right? Well, probably not. It seems like all of the verbs that end in a yod would prefer to take some other kind of a vowel here.
It's or something.
Maybe, well, exactly. It turns into a tzere. What was it originally? If it was an original oo vowel, that would be ya'alui. Ya'alui. What do you do with that? You simplify it down. What if it were an original patach? Ya'alai. Ya'alai. Well, apparently, whatever that vowel was, no, we can't really know for sure. Whatever that vowel was, this whole thing simplified down because it was simply too much to say I or ui, and it turned into a vowel. Like you said, hang on a second. It would be segolhe. So the yod of the root drops off, and then a vowel is stuck in its place, ya'ale, and then by the time of King Solomon, the hey is added to represent that vowel sound. So we're left with ya'ale in the kal binyan. Then you add your vayiktol, vav patach dagesh, and what happens to vowel letters?
They apocryphate.
They apocryphate, they go away. So now we have vaya. What are we going to do with the reduced vowel? It's going to get promoted because we can't have a reduced vowel at the end of a word, so it gets promoted to a patach. Bam. There's your vayal. Now let's do
So
the
that
same.
is in the kal.
No, now let's do the same exercise in the he feel.
Okay.
All right, so here, remember this up here was the kal. Now, step 2 of this experiment is to look and see what it does in the he feel. All right, so in the he feel, we're going to have ya, ah, I can put a yod there and a yod there. And that'll be ya, shva, chirik, yod, yod. And in fact, that chirik, well, I'll leave it there. All right, so first things first, this shva is not going to stay a shva. It's going to probably take a reduced vowel, ya. Wow, all of a sudden we already look similar to where we were in the Kalbinyan. Then we get this big, long, complex vowel, ee, ee. Yeah, ali. Yeah, nobody's going to take the time to pronounce that. So whether this should have been a different vowel or not doesn't really matter. Ultimately, it harmonizes with what the Kalbinyan did. So now we lose all of that, and it simply becomes, you guessed it, segol with an eventual hey in the time of Solomon, ya'ale. And then when you add the vayiktol, you lose the vowel, and and that lengthens to patach, and holy smokes, it's the same thing.
Same thing.
So
Context.
the only way we can tell which binyan it is from the context. Now, please understand, when a Hebrew person reads the Bible and they see vaya'ale, they don't stop and think, boy, is this a transitive or is this an intransitive? They simply know that ya'ale can mean two things, and when they see an object right here, they go, oh, it must be that one. And so that's our goal. Ultimately, we want to get to that point. But until we get there, we're analyzing the heck out of it. Vayal, and of course, the stress being put on the yod is a result of apocompation. And again, see how it's a short vowel in an open syllable? Not allowed unless it's stressed, and it is. Whereas the second part of the word is a short vowel in a closed syllable, so it follows the Rouse rule. It's pretty cool. Vaya'al hamelech Shlomo mas mikol Yisrael. Vayhi hamas 30,000 ish. What is mas in modern Hebrew?
Tax.
Yeah. But here, the mas is 30,000 ish. So I wonder if tax or levy might not be the best translation, but some sort of a state burden of some kind on these 30,000 men.
Like a conscription or something.
Mm-hmm. A conscription. Good. That's the word I was looking for. Anatoly, would you like to read?
Yeah, take it.
I guess I should have asked. Does anybody have a question on the previous section before we move on? Okay, Anatoly.
Yeah, Vashlachem, Lebanona, Seret, Alefim, Bachodesh, Halifot, Chazeh, Chodesh. Ich, בל לבנון, שניים חודשים בביתו, בידו נירב רם עלי חמאס.
Al Hamas.
על
But
חמאס.
in case anybody's wondering, I'm going to go ahead and say the quiet part out loud. We are not saying Hamas, which is violence.
Violent.
We are saying Hamas, the
Hamas.
conscription levy or tax.
Levy, okay. Okay.
Let's see. Vayishlachem Levanon. Why is there an unstressed kamatze here?
It's directional.
Directional, I guess.
Locative,
To
directional, towards
Hey.
Lebanon. Very good.
Okay.
And whom did he send? Well, the object is M.
Them,
He,
okay.
3MS, sent
And
them. And then now the them is being clarified. Aseret alafim bachodesh. So 10 of. It's not technically a construct, but it kind of looks like one. This was probably originally what do you call it? An identifier that may have shown up at the end of numbers and was mistaken as a feminine looking tav, and that's why masculine numbers now look feminine. But anyway, it kind of looks like a construct here as if it were 10 of thousands. Okay, it's 10,000 or 10,000s, I guess.
masculine, Jared, masculine and feminine numbers usually up to from 3 through 9 or
It
10.
includes 10. So let's see. Let me think about this. 1 through 10 have gender, and then by extension, any number plus one of those would also have gender. So 11 has gender because it has a 1 at the end. But numbers like 20, 100, 1,000, they have static gender. They always have the same gender. Or you could argue that they are both genders in one form for numbers like 20, 30, 40. And then when you get to 100, 1,000, 10,000, they have a fixed determined gender. Elef is always masculine. Sorry, 1,000. Yeah, 1,000 elif is always masculine. 100 me'ah is always feminine. Reviva or revivot or something like that would be the 10,000. The myriad is always feminine. Let's see, am I missing any? But numbers 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 just have one form for both genders. But 91 has a gender because the number 1 has one.
10,000, the biggest number. It doesn't go like million.
Yeah, so 10,000 is the biggest number in the Bible. Yeah. But yeah, like you were saying, this the masculine forms of the numbers 1 through 10 look an awful lot like feminines, and the feminines look an awful lot like masculines. And that's just the numbers 1 through 10. Aseret alafim bachodesh, 10,000s in the month or per month. Halifot. Halaf is to change out. Leachlif is to change out. So halifot would be changeouts, changeovers, courses. Chodesh yihiyu valevanon. Month or a month, they will be, or they are to be, in Lebanon. Shnaim chodashim beveto. 2 months in his house. So month on, 2 months off. Va'adoniram al Hamas. And so the guy in charge, the foreman, is Adoniram. What's his name mean?
The Lord or something.
Lifted up high.
Ram, exalted.
Exalted?
So the
Yeah.
Lord, yeah, the Lord is exalted or something like that. Maybe
Or
like
my
that.
Lord is exalted, maybe. Adoni.
Yeah, you're right. And it could be my Lord is exalted.
Mhm.
He was the one over or in charge of the mass. He was in charge of the mass. All right. Who would like to read next?
All
All right.
right.
Go ahead, Gabriel.
Thank you. ויהי ל... לא, לשלמה 70,000 נושא סבל
Sabal.
סבול?
Sabal. Sabal.
סב- סבל, תודה. ו80,000 חוצב בחר.
All right, so it looks like we're getting we're going to get a description here of how everyone's working and what all is being done to build the temple. And so hopefully this isn't going to be too dry of a read. The most exciting verses are the last two. So if we're getting close to time, just remind me and we'll fast forward to that. Vayhi li Shlomo shiv'im elef. See, there's an example of it looks the same whether it's masculine, whether the thing that it's attached to is masculine or feminine. 70 always looks the same. Masculine is always elef is always masculine. Nose sabal, the one bearing burdens. Huh. Nose sabal. I I want to say something about that, but I don't. I guess I'm not prepared to do it. Never mind. Ushmonim elef chotzev bahar. Chotzev and nose. What kind of words are these?
Participle.
Mm-hmm. Kal, masculine singular participles. The ones doing the action of nasa, bearing, or chatzav, hewing. And so there were so many thousands, let's see, 70,000 that were bearing burdens and 80,000 hewing the mountains. Whoo!
Hard work.
I'm just thinking about that ratio. They were working hard in order to have 70,000, basically 7 to 8 is the ratio. 7 to 8 bearers versus hewers. They're getting it done. All right. Who wants to read next? Anastasia, Hanna?
Yeah, thank you. לבד משרי הניצבים לשלמה אשר על המלאכה 3,300 הרודים בעם העושים במלאכה.
Excellent reading. What is the root of harodim? Anybody?
Root.
All right, let's break it up. Do you see any prefixes or suffixes we can peel away?
Ha
Okay,
and im.
looks like a ha.
So you're left with
and looks like an im.
im.
Okay, what does the ha mean?
The.
And what does the im mean?
Or that. A plural.
Okay, masculine plural. To be fair, it is possible. Occasionally, it's possible. Well, of course, it's possible. Occasionally, you'll find that mem is actually a root letter, but not in this case because we're talking about multiple masculine plural individuals doing something. The ones that are rodim ba'am. And so in this case, we know the im is a masculine plural suffix, and we're left with resh, dalit, and a cholam.
I
So
think rude.
Your guess was rud.
Yeah.
I don't think that root exists.
It's
Don't
not,
mean to
it
be
doesn't
rude.
exist. I'm
What
not
else could it
afraid
be?
that.
Is it iron?
Okay, there's another possibility. If a resh, well, now my resh and dalit are looking the same. Let's try resh, dalit, dalit. What does a geminate root? Okay, hang on, back up. Can anybody give me any kind of an indication of what a holam on the first root letter means? What pattern are we looking at?
Usually a participle,
Usually a
right?
participle. So it's like we have something missing here. Oh, eh. So a
Rodé.
geminate root would be roded and rodedim. Just like sovev and sovavim. So it's not geminate.
And there's no dagesh in the dalet either to indicate that.
Oh, right. That's actually a great point, isn't it? Yeah, there should be a dagesh in the dalet if it were geminate. Okay, so if it's not geminate and if it's not a hollow root, then what else can it be?
Can be rodé with a yod at the end.
There you go.
Or
Think about a bonnet in the singular or bonim in the plural.
yeah.
Bana is to build. Bonnet would be singular, someone who is building, like a construction worker or whatever. And then bonim would be the plural of it. So harodim looks like it has the same pattern. So maybe the root is resh dalit, missing yod, or look it up as a hey. What root is this? Now this we do know. This one does show up. Gosh, this shows up in the creation narrative when God tells Adam to have dominion over the fish and the birds and everything else. It uses the word or uses the root rada.
Rule to have authority.
Exactly. To rule or have authority. So here we have harodim, the ones that are ruling, having authority or dominion, ba'am, with or at or over the people. Remember, ba only shows closeness, not necessarily friendly or fiendish closeness. And so they're the taskman. I don't say taskman, the foreman, I guess, over the people. Ha'osim. See, we needed to look no farther than right there to find a parallel. O-E or O-im, ha'oim, harodim, ha'osim. Anyway, I wish I'd have noticed that earlier instead of waxing eloquent about habonim, but it works too. And ha'osim, the ones that are asa doing, bamlacha, doing at the vocation or work. All right, who wants to read next? Questions? Anyone want to read next?
I'll go if no one's volunteering.
Sure.
Vayitzav hamelech vayasiu.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Your training kicked in and you knew that a he feel should be stressed right here. This cantillation mark is doing you no favors.
Nothing. Yeah.
It always shows up at the end of the word. If it shows you the stress, it should show up on the consonant that starts the stress syllable. This is not doing it, so don't trust it. So you rely on your training and get vayasiu.
What is doing this? What's the name? Yeah, some karnea. So it's just tiamim.
Anatoly, let Cheryl finish reading and then come back to the question. Okay, perfect.
It's okay. Vayatzav hamelech vayasiu avanim dolot, avanim יקרות, לייסר הבית, לייסד הבית, אבני גזית.
Avnei gazit. All right, Anatoly, you had a question. Was it about this?
Yeah, this Talisha, this tiamim just for something else or that above? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, my point was that this particular cantillation mark always shows up at the end of the word. You can never trust it to tell you where the stress of the word falls.
Okay. Thank you.
Worst case scenario, you could use a concordance to find this word somewhere else and figure out where the stress goes. but can't trust it. In the same way, there are also some cancellation marks that always show up at the beginning of the word and don't necessarily mark the stressed syllable. Hannah, you have your hand up?
I want to read.
Okay, excellent. I'll call on you just a moment. And thank you for volunteering. Vaitzav Hamelech. What is the root of Vaitzav?
Yatsa?
No.
No. Commander.
Because you see the Vav Patach, that's a Vayiktol, so that means the Yod is your Yiktol prefix letter.
Yeah, it's
So we have Tadi, Vav,
Tavad.
missing.
Yod.
Yod, of
Badi Vav
course.
Yod.
Yep.
Tava.
Tzava or Tziva to command. And it's apocryphated. So just like with Vayal, here too, we're missing that final vowel hey. But it's not a kal binyan. The shva and the patach are enough to tell us that it is binyan
Here.
PL. PL, yeah. There should also be a dagesh right there, but we're not going to get that at the end of a word.
Right.
Vaitzav, and he commanded, who did? Hamelech, the king did. Vayasiu, okay, and then they combined the yod and the u. What did they do? They caused missing nun samich ein. They caused
It's
this
not
action.
Nafal, yeah. Nafal, no?
It's not nifal. It's not nifal. It's a hefil. We can tell from the patach
Patah.
that this is a hefil, but we have a missing root letter. It should have been vayan si u.
Assimilated in the guess.
Exactly. This is what it should have been with root nun samich ayin, but we don't have a yod, and the nun assimilated into the samich as a dagesh. So we're left with vayasiu, and they caused nasa, to journey. They caused something to journey, to travel? Yeah. They took some rocks on a trip. What kind of rocks? Avanim gdolot, huge
Big rocks.
stones. Avanim yikarot, costly ones. Leyased habayit. What is a yesod? Hint. If this is a house,
Foundation.
here's
Foundation.
yesod. Exactly.
Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
So yesod or yesodi would be foundational. And leyased then would be to make a foundation,
Oh, yeah.
to lay a foundation. Or to I guess you could, oh man, there's an old English word, to cast a stone, having to do with laying the foundation, but that would be more like yeah, what is it? Yaru? Yeah, yaru, yara, to cast a stone. That's not the, this is from yasad, to found, I guess to found the house. I don't know how to turn that into a verb, to make a foundation for a house. Avne gazit. What does this word gazit mean? What's the root?
Gaza. Gaza. Gimel.
Okay,
Zain.
we see the gimel, we see the zain.
And Hey.
I'm not sure, because the fact that there's a chirik yod tells me that let me put it this way. The fact that there's a chirik yod tav attached to a feminine noun tells me that it's an adjective and that it's feminine. Like, for example, if someone is a Yehudi, what does the chirik yod tell you? That it's an adjective. It's describing something or someone. And if you want to describe something as being feminine, you put a tav on the end. Yehudit is actually a somewhat common name. By the way, if it's a person in the feminine gender, it becomes Yehudiya. But it still has that what's called a gentilic yod But if it's not a person, then it's an adjectival yod, like that. So same thing I think is happening here. So what do we do with the root? With the root? How do you say shearing sheep? Is it gazaz or gaza? Gozet,
I think it's a geminate
I thought it was a geminate.
sign,
Yeah.
gazas, if I'm
Okay.
not mistaken.
So I don't know. Maybe there's a connection between gazaz shearing sheep and this root having to do with cutting stones. We'd have to look it up. All right. Any question? Oh, what binyan is liyased?
Yeah.
PL. Shva
Okay.
patach dagesh. That's what we're looking for in PL. Hannah, would you like to read?
ויפסלו בוני שלמה ובוני חירום והגבלים ויכנו העצים והאבנים לבנות הבית.
Awesome. They're building a house. Vayifselu pesel. What is a pesel?
Statue.
A statue, or in the Bible, an idol. But the verb pasal has to do with, I guess,
Sculptor.
cutting rocks.
Sculpting.
Yeah. So what did they sculpt? They, let's see, I guess the stone. Okay, so they're just saying the builders of Solomon and the builders of Hiram were doing the action of Vayifselu. So they were cutting, carving, creating something out of stone. Vehagivlim. What are we supposed to do with that? Vehagivlim.
It's puzzle. So the schwa under the vet. Does that mean it was shortened from something because it was lengthened elsewhere at the end? Like I'm thinking givol for some reason, and I don't know why that's sticking in my head, but I didn't
Well, we know the word
look it up.
gvul. What is a gvul?
That's border.
A border. Yeah. So if this is the stone squarers, they're the ones who are making the gvul on the stones. But no, I don't know what the original form of this is. I wonder if I can find out quickly. Where are we in verse? Well, I don't know. If anyone, I hesitate to do it right now. Let's see, where are we? We're here. It's going to take too long, I think.
I'm going to look it up.
You'll look it up? Okay.
I'm going to look up Givol because I think it's something else.
First Kings 5. And I need to find it in verse. Oh, right, in verse 13, 14. There we go. Nice. There it is. Kazit.
Yeah. Givul, it's chord, boundary, territory enclosed.
Right, but I'm trying to figure out what the root, what the pattern of the word is, and apparently this only shows up 2 times. And shows up 1 time in Joshua? Givli. Bummer. Okay.
It's not in 2-letter at all in terms of the verb.
Right. So it only shows up 2 times in the whole Bible, so we're probably not going to find a good example to figure out what pattern it is. I was thinking of if it were the pattern Gevel, but that I don't think that works, because if it were Gevel, it works in one sense because in the construct it would become give something, like give li, which shows up in Joshua, that checks, but this plural form doesn't check. What's the plural form of a seglet? Well, it becomes givalim, not givlim. So maybe not. I don't know. Not sure it's knowable. All right, where are we? I got my screen so cluttered I can't tell where we are now. There we go. Vayachinu. What's the root of vayachinu?
Kun.
Yeah, kun. Oh, wow. I just thought of something. I wonder if I could figure out what bit. Oh, I'm still got my mind on that word hagivlim.
I'm gonna
Now I'm
look
trying
it
to
up. That's
now I'm
right.
trying to no, I want to see if there's another word that has the same pattern. So if we put a hierik right there, followed by that with a shva, and then that with a hierik yod mem. I wonder if we could do something like this, and then turn off the dagesh, I guess. Ignore. Well, that's okay. Shivim, that's a seglet. Nirpim, that's nifal. Nivzim is nifal. Mishnim, Mishnah. Mishneh, there you go. Mishneh, Mishnah. Okay, that would do it. So no, it's not, because that's that mem is a preformative. Okay. Ivrim, there you go. And ivri comes from ever. There it is.
You're right.
Got to be it. So it must be that hierik must be a relic from its original form, converted over into the plural rather than conforming to the later plural form. Oh, all right. So does everyone see what I did there? Because we've got the word hagivlim, I'm looking at the hierik, the shva, and then the hierik yod mem, and I'm asking what other words are there in the Bible that have the same pattern? Well, I made this app right here, so I'm able to, search patterns and stuff. So I put a hierik, a shva, a hierik yod mem with some question marks representing whatever letters may come. And just kind of perusing through these results, ruling out the ones that obviously don't fit, like nifal, miktal, and what was niv, okay, Nibi'im, I guess that would be, is that Nifal as well? To prophesy? No. Well, Nava is. Anyway, the point being, you look for a pattern that fits. And I wonder if there are any others. There you go. Ivrim from Iver. That would be an adjective. Okay, so it's an adjectival form. Whatever that means. Tishim, pishtim. There you go. Pishte, that would be another option. No, it wouldn't. Pishte, givle. Yeah, so if it were like givle, givlim, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna shelf it. Okay.
Hmm.
Fun.
For another day.
So vayachinu, what is the root
Kun.
for? Yeah, exactly. We're on this one, vayachinu. This is an irregular verb. Here, let's start. Let's not start with the irregular stuff. Let's start with the regular stuff. What about this is quite predictable? Well, Vav Patach Dagesh tells us that it's a
Vaiktor.
Vaikton.
Vayiktol. The yod at the front and the u at the end tells us that it's
Masculine plural, third masculine plural.
third masculine plural. And then now this is a little tricky, but there's an a vowel followed by a chirik yod. That tells us the binyan. Hifil. To be fair, we would expect a patach and then a shva and then a chirik yod, but something irregular is happening. What's going on that's irregular with this word? You said the root is kun.
Mm-hmm.
that vav is your problem.
Yeah, it
Vavs
does.
and yods and noons are quite problematic. So what should this have been? Well, vayach.
Yeah.
Okay, vayach
They,
we knew.
we,
Right? Look at the pattern. First, second, third root letters, and then the pattern, patach, shva, chirik yod. That's what it should have been. Vayachwinu. Well, that sounds funny, doesn't it? Apparently, the combination of all of this simplified down to a chirik yod. Now, this yod prefix is all by itself in an open syllable. Can you have short vowels in an open unstressed syllable? So it lengthens. Vayachinu. Most of the changes that show up in Hebrew are simply because something was difficult to pronounce, and so laziness simplified it and then shuffled all the details down. Vayachinu, and they prepared. Ha'itzim. I want to talk about
It's
that, but I don't know if I can.
tree.
Huh?
Yeah, tree. Tree. It's tree.
Right. Etz is a tree. I was going to ask, what is the root of etz? I don't know that.
oots,
It's noun.
So, yeah,
eights or oots. Eights, either eights or oots.
some people would tell me that I'm asking an irrelevant question because they believe that there are certain ancient nouns that have only two root letters. And if they're right, then I would agree with them that you can't look for a third root letter if there isn't one. But they often will also say that certain words are two root letters long when in fact they are demonstrably not. Why do we say av is two root letters long when in the plural you get a vav, in the construct form you get a yod? What are these extra letters doing? Well, you need look no further than Arabic to find out that they're part of the root. Same thing with ach. Same thing with geminate roots, right? Like am is ein mem mem because as soon as there's a pronominal suffix, we get a dagesh. So whether they were originally two root letters and then Hebrew conformed them to the three root letter system by geminating it, or whether they were always three root letters is kind of neither here nor there. So what I'm trying to do is, as best as I can, bring what we see in the Bible into a consistent, parsable routine, if I can put it like that. So if I can try to find three root letters, I will. Is there any other word that has a tsere with two root letters that we know for certain what those three root letters are? Sure. How about the
Okay.
word chetz? What is a chetz?
Arrow.
An arrow. And in the construct form, we would get chitzim with a dagesh in it. Chitzim. So in the case of chetz, what is the root?
Tzadi tzadi.
Chet tzadi tzadi. Okay, fair. What about words like what about words like yen? Yen, that has the same pattern, but its root is not yod nun nun. What is the root?
Yod, yod.
No.
Yod nun. Very good. So here we get a missing yod. And so if that were the case for etz, then it would be ein yod tzadi. How do we know that it's not geminate? How do we know that the root isn't ein tzadi tzadi? Well, because in a word like etzim, you should have a dagesh and then a short vowel here, and it's not. So apparently the root was with a yod, possibly. I guess you could also say that maybe it had an original vav or yod at the, I don't know. I'm not sure you could make a good case of that. Because of the tsere being there, that reminds me of a Segalit I-class vowel seglet, like beten. No, sefer. That's a good one. In the word sefer, we have a tzere, but as soon as you add a pronominal suffix to it, what does it become?
Sifro.
Sifro. So
But
all
that's
we
not
have
what.
to do is find out, is there anywhere in the Bible where we see his tree, right, with a pronominal suffix, and then it should be
Itzo.
itzo, like that. But there is nowhere in the Bible that has a pronominal suffix on the word tree, so we're up a creek.
Mm.
So there are some words that we simply can't know for certain what the root is or was, but we can look for other words with similar patterns in order to try to narrow it down. And that
Did
kind of
they
stuff just runs my engine. I just
that
get all giddy about that.
so there's a cherry, and that's the same family as a chirik yod, right?
The
So
tere, the chirik, okay, so the chirik vowel and the chirik yod and the tere are all related, yes.
yeah. So would they just ever make abbreviations like that? Like where
I'm afraid the question that you're asking is too simplistic.
okay.
The pronunciation wavering over time is what ultimately led to variations in spelling. So I hesitate to say that they would just capriciously spell it differently, but rather that the scribes were trying to preserve how it was pronounced. So my initial knee-jerk reaction to your question would be no, they don't do that. But then again, there are some places where you see chirik yod or regular chirik with no yod. Why? Well, because the yod was part of the structure of the word, and those yods didn't exist prior to the time of Solomon.
Right.
So in that case, it's okay to expect that mater letters are missing because they didn't exist to begin with. It's not that they're missing, it's that somebody came along and added them some places, but not consistently in all places. All right, let's see. Livnot habayit. Do we want to jump to the last two verses? I don't know how much time we're going to have. We have 30 minutes left. Who wants to read next? Ooh, that's a long one.
Try.
Go ahead, Gabriel. Oh,
What?
who is it? Bet Moore wants to read also. Maybe the next verse. Go ahead, Gabriel. Oh, your mic's on mute.
Okay. ויהי ב80 שנה ב400 שנה לצאת בני ישראל, בני ישראל, מארץ מצרים בשנה הרביעית בחודש זיו, תודה, הוא החודש השני למלוך שלמה על ישראל, ויבן הבית לאדוני.
Vayiven. So that's another one of those apocryphated vayiktols. So it not only lost the third root letter and the vowel that replaced it, it also shifted the stress. Very typical in vayiktols and also in jussives. Forms that are jussive, like let him do this or do not do that. You'll see the stress jump forward if possible. Very good reading. Vayihi vishmonim shana ve'arba me'ot shana letzet b'nei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim. All right, so we're getting something of a timestamp here. This is the passage. Some critical scholars don't believe it, or they don't, whatever. But face value, what's the Bible telling us? it was the 480th, right? 480th year since the children of Israel came out of the land of Egypt. That was the second year of Solomon's reign. So that allows you to take two different epics in history and link them together. The Genesis and Exodus stories with King Solomon. So this is quite a pivotal verse for chronology. Bashana Harivi'it Bachodesh Ziv. Now, there aren't very many months that have a name in the pre-exilic period. How many are there that have a name, not just numbered, first month, second month, but how many of them actually have a name? Four. Four. So Ziv is one of them. Anybody know any of the others?
Aviv.
Aviv.
Nissan.
No, Nisan came later.
Something
Nisan was the replacement for Aviv. Nisan.
Adar, maybe?
No, Adar is from the Akkadian and Babylonian calendars.
That's in Esther, I think.
Right. Post-exilic, it shows up in Esther.
Bull.
Bul, very good.
Bull.
Which is funny to me because in Hebrew, when someone when you say bul, it's like bullseye, like you got it, bingo.
Yeah.
So when I heard bull, I'm like bull. All right, and there's one more. There, I'll give you a hint.
Tanim.
Etanayim. It's either etanim or etanayim. I think it's etanim. But it comes from the root etan. That's supposed to be a nun right there. Please use your imagination. Etan means reliable. So this might be a reference to those rivers that are still running at the end of the dry season, as opposed to all of the others that have turned into dry wadis. This is the season when you're not getting, it's the end of the dry spell. There's basically no rain. All the rivers are drying up except for the etanim, the reliable ones. Cool. So here it tells us which one it is. So Aviv is which month is Aviv?
First.
Ziv, here it says, is the second. I think Bol has to do with the produce of some kind, and then Etanim, that's going to be, near the end of summer, dry spell.
Yivol is produce.
Yivol.
Yeah.
You're right. Yivol. Right. Yivol.
I think it's produce.
I'm trying to separate it from flood, a deluge.
Oh yeah.
Mabul. That's Mabul.
Mabul.
Mabul is like Noah's flood. Mabul.
Good.
Limloch Shlomo al Yisrael vayiven habayit ladonai. And built the house to the Lord. Good. Bet Mor or Beth Mor, did you want to read?
Yes.
Yalla, bevakasha.
Yalla. Vehabayit Asher Bana Hamelech Shlomo La Adonai Shishim Ama Archo Ve'esherim Rachbo Ushloshim Ama Komato.
Good, excellent. So we're getting the dimensions of the house that King Solomon is building. So we've got lots of measurements here. Vehabayit Asher Bana Hamelech Shlomo La Adonai Shishim Ama Orko Ve'esrim Rochbo Ushloshim ama komato. Okay, so you can see the O, O, O. We're getting a pattern here. And we've got the number, number, number. And then we have unit. No unit. Unit. So it's supposed to be unit, 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 but here it got left out. We're simply meant to understand it. So we get the number, the unit, and then the dimension that's being measured. The house which he built, that is the king, Solomon, to the Lord. I don't see a verb. How can this be a sentence if there's no verb? Because the verb is implied. In fact, the translator was trying to help us out by putting in brackets there. Yeah, there's an implied verb. Was. What was?
With the Lord.
House. Well, to the Lord is a prepositional phrase, so that's technically that's gravy in a sentence. That's extra. We need the subject, we need the verb, and then there's everything else gravy. So here's our subject, the house, and then you can see the asher, which tells us more information about the house. Where does that asher, that relative clause, end? Well, how can we figure out where the end of this relative clause is, even if our Hebrew is adequate?
There's a cantillation mark above the vav in the
Ding, ding,
last
ding.
word.
Bull. The cancellation mark here tells us there's a disjunction. That's going to be a good place to put an end of a phrase. And in fact, that's the end of this relative clause. So while the ladonai is itself a prepositional phrase and therefore gets its own set of parentheses, everything inside this asher clause is a complete sentence. So within it, we expect there to be a subject, a verb, and then everything else. So where's the subject inside of this asher clause? Obviously not the asher, because that's introducing the clause. Where's the subject? Where's the verb?
The subject, Hamelech, probably.
Melech is the subject. In fact, you know what? You're absolutely right. But now that you're answering with Hamelech, it reminds me we should really look for the verb first,
Bana.
because exactly bana, because the verb has built-in it has a built-in subject, and we'll use that in order to make sure that the subject agrees with it, right? So bana, he built, is a 3ms verb. So now we're looking for the 3ms subject, and like you said, there it is. Well, wait a second. Shlomo, he's also 3ms. Maybe he's the subject. No, Melech is. No, Shlomo is. No, Melech. No. Well, that's apposition. It's one and the same thing.
Mhm.
Tom, my teacher, so I'm saying the same thing twice using different words. Hamelech, Shlomo, they're both one and the same. Ladonai tells us that something was done to the Lord. What was? Built. He built. Okay, so the point is that all of this in this thick parenthesis over here and a thick parenthesis over here, that's all a relative clause. So let's distill the sentence down. We've got our subject here, and then we've got a bunch of measurements. Where's the verb? There isn't one. It's implied. The house was Shishim Amma Olko. Wait a minute. Amma, is that singular or plural?
It's plural. It's considered
Implied
plural.
plural. It's implied plural, right?
Mhm.
Because of the number Shishim, Ray Charles can see it's got to be plural. But as long as the number is greater than 10, Hebrew's fine with using the singular form. So we'll translate it as cubits, even though it in form looks like it's singular. 60 cubits. Ko. Why is there a dagesh in Shishim?
Because shish is a shortened form from the historical
We're miss
shedge, you said.
Yeah, we're missing a root letter. That's all.
Yeah.
Now noon is our usually suspected bad boy that assimilates and goes missing, and we have to try to figure out what the root was. Shishim is an exception. Noon is not the bad boy here. It is, as you said, a missing dalet. Shedge. Shedge. Now, because dalet and sheen apparently were pronounced in the same place inside the mouth originally. See, we can learn two things from this. Dalet and Sheen are pronounced in the same place in the mouth. And that's precisely why the Dalet assimilates into it. Is Dalet, D, and Sheen pronounced in the same place in the mouth today? And no. Sheen is interdental, right? You're blowing air through your teeth. Shh. Whereas Dalet is, well, I guess that's technically interdental also. No, it's not interdental. It's dental. It's dental. Da, 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 da. It's right behind the teeth. Da, da, da versus sh, sh, sh. So that tells us that either Dalet was interdental or that Sheen was dental originally. And in fact, if you look at how Arabic treats the Sheen letter, it appears that Sheen used to be dental. So instead of being Sheen, it was more like Theen. Yes, it sounds like I have a lisp. The point is that it was pronounced differently, and that's why the two collapsed. So it would be hard to say Sids, Sids. So it becomes simply Sids, which then turns into Shesh. Anyway, so this assimilates into there, and that's why we have a Dalet. That's why the Dalet assimilates.
Why is there a dagesh in the men of
In
Amma?
Amma,
Yeah.
I think that's well, I was going to give you one answer, but I think it's another. I think it's geminate.
Okay.
In the word imma, which is the Aramaic definite form of M, there's a dagesh, and then a chirik tells us that this is probably a seglet. So what should have been something like im becomes with a dagesh, imma. The only other reason, if I'm wrong, and I don't think I am, but I always reserve the right to be wrong. I'm not perfect. If I'm wrong, then the dagesh would have to be there because of the pattern of the word. But I'm pretty sure it's because of the
Geminate.
root. Yeah, the geminate root. And then we have orko. Did anyone see the kamatskatan in this word?
Yep.
It's a sneaky one. There it is, closed, unstressed syllable. And then, in fact, there's another one over here, rochbo. Rochbo. Now, there probably should have been one more in this word right here. But the Vav got in the way. All right, let me simplify this down a little bit. There. Feels so good to clear the ink and everything
Just to let you know, we have 10 minutes for those last two verses you were talking
okay.
about.
All right. So the root, the pattern of the word, well, hang on. What is, if I wanted to look up this word orko in the dictionary, what would I have to look up?
Erech, arach.
You've got the root letters right. But what do we do with that short O vowel?
Orech. Yeah.
Orech, exactly. So this is a seglet, an O or U flavored seglet, and so is rochbo. So what would I look up in the dictionary for this one? Rochav. Very good. And because of the chet, it becomes rochav instead of rochev. All right. And the same thing probably should have happened here, except it's got the feminine form. Let me put it this way. What is the feminine form of this made up word I just made up?
Chachama.
Chochem is originally chochm. You put a feminine tav on there, you get chochma that drops to kamatz katan. And then eventually the tav drops off and turns into chochma, etc. But the point is, the u or o flavored seglet in the feminine takes the same form as chochma, and that's what's happening with koma. It should have been kamatz katan ko, with a shva, and then mat, which later turns into ma. Kol ma. But what did Hebrew do with this vowel combination? Simplified it. Turned it into a chol and vav. Kol ma. So this is the problem with vavs, also with yods. They tend to lose their consonantal force and turn into vowels.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the warning. Let's go ahead and read those last couple of verses. Vayehi dvar Adonai. This is after all of the building has been described. Vayehi dvar Adonai el Shlomo lemor. Okay, I took the easy verse. The word of the Lord unto Solomon, saying. So we need to, the word of the Lord was. Who wants a nice long verse?
Yeah, I will try.
Anybody, is there
Yeah,
anybody who hasn't read and wants to? I see there's a few other people who haven't read yet. Can I encourage you to read?
Tuesday is a beautiful reader too, and
Tuesday's a
she's hiding
wonderful reader.
somewhere.
She might have had to leave early. I don't know.
Leave, yeah.
Okay. Who was it then that wanted to read? Was it you, Anatoly?
yeah, I'd like to. Habayit
Please.
Hazeh, Asher Ata Boneh Im Helech Bechu Katai Be'et Mishpatai Ta'aseh Beshamara Beshamarta Beshamarta את כל מצוותיי ללכת בכם בחכמותי את דברי איתך אשר דיברתי אל דוד אביך.
Part of the reason that this verse is more exciting to read is because it's quoting God. It's fantastic. So this is God speaking to Solomon. Habayit hazeh, this house, asher ata boneh, or asher ata boneh, because of the vowel here, turns into v. Asher ata boneh, there's our relative clause. Im telech bechukotai, ve'et mishpatai ta'aseh. All right, so we've got a little bit of a break here, a little bit of a break there. Vishamarta et kol mitzvotai. Little break right there. Lalechet bahem. Vehakimoti et dvari itach. There's another break. Asher dibarti el David. Avicha. Okay, so this is all a relative clause. All right, so we've taken a big verse and we broke it down into little pieces. Habayit hazeh, this house that you built, that you are building. Is that a complete sentence? Not
It's the
yet.
dependent clause.
Well, this part is, so we can ignore that. But habayit hazeh is a nominal unit. It's not a complete sentence yet, right?
Right. No, it isn't.
It's just this house. And then we get a bunch of conditional clauses, it sounds like. If, just like a share introduces a clause, so also im introduces a clause. If you walk in my statutes and my judgments you will execute, and you will keep all of my commands to walk in them, and you will perform my word with you, which I spoke to David your father. So this is one entire if clause.
Yeah.
So no, it's not a sentence.
No.
It's an if clause. All right, so let's get the then clause. The then clause is simply a vekatal. That's it. It doesn't have an actual dedicated word for then, if blah, 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 then there is no dedicated word. It's simply a vekatal. All right. Who wants to read the last verse?
I'll go.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
Veshakanti betoch bnei Yisrael velo e'ezov et ami Yisrael.
If you promise to keep all of these things, as I spoke with David, your father, then veshachanti. Then I will shachen. I will dwell, just like the Shekhinah, the presence of God, the Shekinah. I will dwell betoch bnei Yisrael, in the toch, that is the midst, the in between, the among bnei Yisrael, the children, sons of Israel. Velo ezov, and not will I azav, leave, forsake, et ami. I will not forsake my people. Which people? Apposition. Yisrael. Cool. Comments or questions? Thank you all so much for coming and reading Hebrew with me. I really appreciate it. Tell your friends if they want to read Hebrew too. And next week, what is next week's Haftarah?
Haven't looked yet.
Let's see, today was Terumah.
There are quite a few new people here today that I've never seen the names before.
Oh, welcome, welcome. I wish you would introduce yourself, but if you want to be shy, that's cool. That's cool. Maybe next time. And it's okay. I don't bite. And bye.
תודה רבה. Shalom.
Okay, so next time is Tetzaveh. Shalom leitraot. Bye. And Tetzaveh 1159 in the Stone edition. 1159 is Ezekiel. Yay! So next week is Ezekiel 43, verses 10 to 27. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys then.
Thank you, Jared.
Lehitraot v'shalom.
Lehitraot leshalom.
Lehitraot. Bye.
Bye.